And we're bringing different communities together, which is wonderful, because very often when I go to conferences, I don't see much diversity, and there's such a lot of diversity today. So we sort of have a code of conduct, which we hope that people are respectful of each other, allow people to speak, recognise that people have varying abilities and so on. So we just wanted people to be respectful of that. But the actual conference itself, we are looking to evaluate this type of event as a way of communicating and bringing different communities together to see if this is a viable way of engagement, communication and so on, particularly for things to do with rare diseases, race equality and so on. I don't know if any of you have heard of this phrase. Equality, diversity and inclusiveness is what we're talking about today. But this phrase, Beth will know, I used to say this a lot. If you always do what you've always done, anyone finish that for me? You'll always get what you always got. Yeah? Is there an old Caribbean phrase? I don't know. But it's time to change. If you're forever sending out surveys and you say nobody's responding, they're too hard to reach, which I hate, change then. And that's what this is today. You know, yes, we could have a survey or a poll and so on, but it's a facilitated discussion. And this might be a way in which if you don't engage well with different communities, different from yourselves, this might be the way to do it. So when we're evaluating it, we want you to be reflective of the way we're doing this and might think, well, they're talking about inclusion today, but we might be talking about race equality tomorrow, or rare diseases the next day, or diverse communities telling stories the next day. The process would be the same, you just ask a different question. So that's exactly what we're trying to achieve today, to look at the model or the approach of having communities of practice, okay? Oops, see if it'll go. Yes. Right, so the United Nations Day for Diversity, Dialogue and Development is this month, on the 21st of May. And it was my sister Humie who pointed this out to me, as she tends to do. She tends to point things out to me. In that, there's a theme, and the theme is around diversity, dialogue and development. And that's how we've developed this conference. Diversity, look around, look around. We've got diversity in terms of people from different backgrounds, different communities, different colours, different professions. And, I don't know about anybody else, but I very rarely go to conferences. Very often I go to a conference. I was one recently, and there was about 200 people, and I was the only person of colour there. So I very rarely am the only person of colour in the room. Yeah. So what we want to do is try to bring different diverse communities together in keeping with the theme of the United Nations Day. So dialogue, what we're going to be doing in the next sort of sessions is the dialogue. Yes, so we've got expert panelists coming in, are going to be talking about their experiences in the perspective of inclusion, but from different perspectives. Yeah, and the development side is towards the end, and that's when we're going to be doing the discussions and the poll, just to see what people think. Okay, and the development for you guys is to keep this going, because what we want to do is just think about, is this successful? Hopefully it is. Let's think about developing a community of practice for race equality. Yes. A community of practice for rare diseases. Yes. A community of practice for inclusive research. Yes. Community of practice for diverse storytelling through COVID to look at lived experience. Let's do it together, and that's what this is about. Does that make sense to you guys?